2021 at the town hall. A motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion on the agenda? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have the minutes of September 7th. Do we have any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
number 8, just a typo. Next meeting is today, September 20th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I found that, yeah, thank you, Suzanne.
Okay.
Are there any other additions or corrections? If not, somebody make a motion to accept the minutes of September 7th, 2001.
So moved.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
John, will
Okay,
you, John, will you second? Thank you.
okay, we have Gabriel from the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation to give us a talk. So, Gabriel, you're on.
All right, thank you all. Do you prefer that I stand up here?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Well, thank you all for having me up here today. Thank you to the select board. My name is Gabriel Cesare. I'm here on behalf of Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation, which, if for anyone who doesn't know, we're the regional economic development organization for the Wyndham region. I'm the business prosperity and community projects specialist there. And I'm also here on behalf of Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies, SEVIDS. The dynamic at BDCC and SEVIDS is that BDCC supports the capacity and effort to really improve the economic vitality of the Wyndham region in general. That even includes a few towns in Bennington County. And then SEVIDS serves as the larger research-focused entity of our two organizations that helps support finding outside dollars and bringing them into the region to support more enhanced capacity with building more programs to support longer-term economic development strategies. What I would like to do is give just a brief overview of some of our past impacts in Grafton, and then run through some of our programs, give a brief explanation of some of our programs, and then hopefully allow time for any questions if that's okay. Okay. So in the past, this has been a very unique past 2 years for everyone, in particular businesses and economic development in the region. Everyone is aware that there was a pretty significant downturn because of the effort of BDCC and SEVIDS to really have a consistent focus on improving our regional economic activity, even amidst the coronavirus pandemic. We were able to help support businesses in Grafton specifically receive around $2.3 million in the Paycheck Protection Program. We had one-on-one technical assistance counseling with some of those businesses who applied for that program. One of the programs that I run, the Community Facilities Technical Assistance Program, which we run in partnership with USDA Rural Development, supports grant and loan funding to eligible nonprofits and town offices in the region. I've had some connection with Mary and Steve from the Grafton Community Church to help develop some of their infrastructure at that space. And I know that the Southern Vermont Economy Project and my colleague Sarah Lang have had some connections with Bill, I believe, in early discussions about some development and infrastructure planning in the town of Grafton as well. And we have really recently, in particular because of SEVID's sustained research and effort in bringing outside capital into our region, we've expanded our capacity at BDCC quite a bit. We now have a 3-member business assistance team in which we can provide one-on-one support to people in the Wyndham region or in Grafton looking to start a business, looking to grow their business, looking to improve their planning, to set themselves up to hire even more personnel. We have ongoing business resiliency programming after the pandemic as well, which has helped bring in many state funds into the area to support what we call a pivot project for businesses. So a business that experienced a particularly intense slowdown because of the pandemic, we can help find grant funding or other loans that might sort of get them over that hurdle that they face. The Pipelines and Pathways program is a program that we've been running in all the schools in the Windham region for a few years now, and that helps support career readiness for all of the high school and middle school students in the Windham region. And then overall, we have sustained efforts to help bring in more people into the region long term and to support the overall growth of our region and keep it a vital place for us to be. And like I said, the Community Facilities Technical Assistance Program and the Southern Vermont Economy Project, both we run in partnership with USDA Rural Development, and that helps support direct technical assistance to town offices or nonprofits to provide more capacity building expertise to those organizations in the area. And I think with that, if possible, I'd like to field any questions if there are any. Yes.
How many of these programs are funded by COVID monies? Is it the business and your 3-man member business? Is that COVID?
Of the programs that we run?
Yeah.
So I believe some funding for one individual on that team comes from COVID-related assistance. I'm not sure of the specifics of how that funding source works within our own organization.
So you did not, as a whole, go after some of the COVID money to promote businesses and encourage people to continue. I mean, you talk about your paycheck protection.
Yes.
That's part of it, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So that was, the Paycheck Protection Program was a federal program that allowed businesses to remain operational throughout the pandemic. And our service to support that, it was still a federal application that businesses needed to go through. But our support through that was to provide one-on-one assistance with the business to help shepherd them through that application. Because speaking personally, working with USDA Rural Development, another federal entity, those applications are not straightforward processes. And there is a value in having an institution in the community who's able to support these businesses walking through that so that they don't have to do absolutely all of that paperwork themselves.
Could you be specific about who in Grafton you helped with that technical advice?
So we keep record of those entities. I would be happy to provide that to the select board members, which I'll do.
Be great.
Yeah, which I'll do, but on principle, we prefer to keep that private to the entities
That's fine.
themselves. Yeah.
I have a question. Since Windham County is now alone, there are people that don't want to work. So like the tavern is closed 2 days a week because they can't fulfill, they can't employees keep it open. And the employees can't work 7 days a week. Well, obviously when they close 2 days, it affects the town. It affects the store, it affects them as well. Can you give any assistance to this or throughout the county? Because the same thing in Dunkin' Donuts or other restaurants, some of them are closing early because they just can't get anybody to work. And I don't know how you fit into that program.
So one of the values that we serve is we have our executive director, and we have a state legislature on staff as well. We have consistent communication with the state about that and many other issues. I know that speaking about our executive director, he is a restaurant owner himself, or a grill owner, and experiences that particular issue every day, and is, you know, squeezed by it like the rest of businesses in the area. Assistance that BDCC could give may include working with the business one-on-one in a counseling session to try and figure out if this is going to be a sustained issue that is levels much higher than any of us may work in. How does that, we can help that business understand how they need to pivot their operations to work with this contracted labor market, if that's what is going to be the reality moving forward.
This may be out of scope. Do you feel like we're coming out of the recession? Are you sensing, because since you're dealing with all these businesses, are they feeling optimistic, or are they still just scrambling by?
So that's a great question that I wish I had specific numbers for right now, but at least within the past 4 to 5 months, probably, we've seen what I think is surprising even some of us at BDCC, an overwhelming amount of new business activity and sort of a reawakening of business activity that had slowed down during the pandemic. And I think, at least from my point of view, I'm sure there are people doing research at a much higher level that might contradict this point of view, but it does seem to me that I think everyone is eager to resume activity that was happening before, and I do see us coming out of the other side of that.
That's good. That's good. I have a couple more questions. First of all, with respect to the town of Grafton, could you be more specific about what assistance you gave to us working with Bill? And also, I'd just like to check in on the number of people that your per capita charge is based on. Our population of 679 sounds a little high to me, but Kim and Bill would know better about that.
I think they use the Census Bureau. Did you use the last 2010 census?
Yes, I do believe that we always adjust our funding request to the previous census, which I am also tracking to be 679.
So that was from 2010.
Yes.
And what about the town of Grafton? How did we use your service?
So I'm unfamiliar with the specifics of the communications that Sarah Lang with the Southern Vermont Economy Project has been doing, but I understand it to be early conversations about how to early conversations with respect to supporting infrastructure, sustaining infrastructure in the community of Grafton, and developing strategies for that. I'm sorry, I can't be more specific than that.
I don't remember, it's so long ago, but it probably had to do with how we were gonna deal with our meetings and keeping it open as well as dealing with others. But I don't know, Kim, do you remember? I don't. I'd have to go back and look at that.
No problem. I think if you could just get back to us with those two action items. The reason I'm asking is obvious. We just like to be really familiar with the specific impact that Stebbins has on the town of Grafton as we consider this budget item.
Bill, you have something?
Yeah, but at the beginning, you said in COVID, there was 2.3 million in paycheck protection. Was that and I understood that to be just with Grafton. Was that the whole county, or was that just Grafton?
So pardon me, that was So it was 2.3 million to the whole region, and it was 204,598 for Grafton.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me.
Anybody have any other questions? Gabriel?
Question on infrastructure. We own the school building, the town does. Would that be included in any kind of, cost for repairs or improvements? Maybe Bill can answer that.
It isn't, I would say no. We own the land. They own the building as if they own it out. They lease the building for $1 and they're responsible for everything.
I thought we owned the building,
No,
the town.
Yeah.
well, we own the building, but it is if they own the building. We don't do anything. We don't paint one board. We don't do anything. The school has all the costs. They rent the property and the building for $1 with everything just like it was when they owned it. We don't do a thing.
So as far as infrastructure that you help, would your company or your services help a school system in Grafton or in Wyndham?
So I think that the extent of support that we generally give to the school system is the career development training that I was speaking about. Our assistance with infrastructure or supporting town facilities generally falls outside of the school supervisory unions because those have a very direct funding source, from what I understand, coming directly from the state. As everyone understands more about the American Recovery Plan, where guidance is making its way to the state and then the state to each community, we're supporting communities in navigating how best to use that particular funding resource, and that I think even schools, the supervisory unions themselves are receiving their own direct portion of that recovery plan. That's true. And so I would say that generally for supporting community infrastructure, schools will fall outside of our scope because our focus is on community infrastructure that is underserved because they may not have a very specific funding resource like the supervisory unions do. So for the community facilities program, I'm generally looking at physical town offices like this that need redevelopment assistance, the community church, like I mentioned, or private nonprofit organizations that have infrastructure that they need to improve.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Gabriel? If not, thank you.
Okay.
And if you would get the information that was requested, Bill, would be appreciated.
Yes. Should I send it directly to Bill?
Send it to Bill and Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And you have all his contact information on yours.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Highway report, the culvert on Right Ocean Road. Danny, you gonna speak to this?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, go just above Kent Armstrong's on Right Orchard, it's a steel culvert, so it's kind of narrow right there. During the high water that we had, that's at the bottom of that, it peeled it up and stood it up straight inside of it. So the bottom was getting bad. And just wanna know what you guys wanna do with it. We got the bottom laid down in it now, but it's only gonna keep doing it or get worse. For a steel culvert, and I have a permit from Scott Jensen to replace it. To put a 10-foot squash tube in there, the culvert itself is 10.5. We could also put a 4 or 5 foot plastic in there, and that would be around 7,000. That's just for the culvert, no, the town would have to do the work for them kind of braces. No, they're not making us do a box or nothing, he's letting us do this.
Should we wait to see if people will do anything on it? See if it was damaged or
We
not?
can, but to order, they didn't give me a lead time, a good, I wouldn't do the steel just because of the price of it, but plastic is 5 to 8 weeks out to get a coat. And they don't even guarantee you that, but that's what they're saying, you know, between 5 and 8 weeks. So we wait to hear from FEMA, it's gonna put it out this season.
You aren't gonna be able to do it this season anyways, are you?
You're gonna have
What we
to,
got to do, you know, finishing the flood work and your own work. Here we are in the end of September.
so you got 5 to 8 weeks to get it in, but once you get the cover. Or you just leave it and hope for the best and do it next summer.
Can you do any kind of repair without the culvert there?
No, we've been on flat and bottom back out, you know. If we don't get any real high water, it may not stand the backup until, you know, who knows the next storm. But
So did it cause much erosion?
no, not there, just not this time.
Yeah, I'd like to wait for FEMA.
We've had to get it for 5 to 8 weeks. It's very hard to get it in this year anyways. So if people wouldn't do anything, you could order it over the winter time and have it for.
I'll have to just check and make sure that Scott honors that permit
Yeah.
in the spring.
I mean, FEMA was, Johnson, FEMA was in Walpole, so they might be here next week. Hopefully they will come in soon.
But didn't the letter that Bill sent out say that FEMA, that we were encouraged to go ahead and do the repairs and that FEMA would reimburse us, or did I misunderstand that, Bill?
In this type of thing, if,
This would be,
the problem is, they're not gonna allow us to, unless they agree it has to be replaced, they won't pay to replace it at all, they won't pay anything. So the only way you can convince them that it has to be replaced is if they see the condition of it, right? Don't you think?
right, but they don't pay the family culvert as condition caused by the flood. Because it's a steel culvert, so you'd have to litigate that culvert to see if they would replace it.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen them yet give us money for stuff.
That is the other issue, you know, there is a good chance they would not approve.
It's the same with up to, Dick DeRoche's. Which I do have a permit for that one too.
So Danny, could you just be real clear about what your recommendation is, please? That's something.
I'm bringing it up because it's up to you guys to find the money to do that. And I know we spent a lot and don't know how much we're really getting back yet. The one at Kent, it'd be nice, if they're not gonna extend the permit to do it next year, I would like to see it done this year. Because I don't wanna see us putting $150,000 box culvert in there. If they're gonna extend the permit, if that culvert floods, it's literally gonna take out just the road right straight across. And if that happens, then, the state would pay for it anyways. The one by Dick DeRoche's, that one we all know what it does every time it comes up, it goes over. And you're looking at about the same, cost at either site, because it's the same size culvert and about the same, distance across the road.
I'd personally like to see us wait, because we haven't had FEMA, and we spent a lot of money so far. And with the tax rate that it's gonna be, with the reappraisals and everything else, nobody really knows what the tax rates are, but I bet you they're gonna go up, so. I mean, that would be I'm not speaking to the board, I'm giving you my personal opinion.
So what you wanna do, Danny, is put something inside the existing culvert to hold it, or?
No, you'd be replacing the whole.
Replacing it. And that was $7,000, you said?
That was for the steel one, I think.
But that doesn't include the materials.
16.
Right, that's just the cost of the culvert.
What size was that, Ken?
10
That was on a 4 foot. plastic.
And that's the same at the roasters.
Yes.
And then the other problem is that you have a lot of work to do, and I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of, we really need to finish it.
Work-wise, Jamie's, working on flood stuff a few days this week. So the Fisher Hill area would be, I think he finished today. He's working on Middletown Road tomorrow on a culvert to, replace that last one up there. P&L showed up this morning to start. They're gonna be here for at least a week. I think most of the culverts and ditch stuff will, I mean, we'll be in a week's time, it's gonna dwindle that list down pretty fast, because it's small stuff in sites. We do still have a lot of gravel put up, Hinkley Brook and Kidder Hill yet.
And are you doing hydro seeding too?
I did not know worry about it this year.
But didn't you develop a machine?
Yeah, but it takes time and so late in the year, I'm not even worried about trying to, with the leaves and stuff that are falling already. I'm gonna try hydro seed this time. I had tried to get to hydro seed now, and it's about impossible. It's been ordered for 3 months, like I hoped, and it still hasn't come through.
Danny, what about the pole there, on 21 near the snowmobile bridge? Is that gonna fix that too?
That's called in the dig safe that, after Wednesday will be cleared, so they can dig that, to do that culvert. That's a culvert, it's an issue there.
Where's that?
Just before the old school stuff, on 121.
It's near the snowmobile.
Near goes across my line.
Okay.
Where the vast trailers, yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, that's our land.
Yeah,
The one on
Yeah,
the dump trailer would make it to the brook.
yeah, but we own that side of the brook.
No, you're not talking about the same spot.
It's
In Grafton, it is, the 3 houses that live there. They go across the private bridge,
Oh, down that way.
down by the brakes, more closer to Great.
yeah, I guess it is.
Oh, that way.
Oh, yeah, it's down there, the old guitar place.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's the one, I'm sorry, I thought it was Concord.
And what are you doing there?
We're gonna take over. And some of these culverts, I don't know if they're gonna pay for that type of stuff.
The one by the snowmobile bridge,
Yes.
where they dug it out, but it's, if a car goes along the right hand side of the road, their tire could go right off into
But
that.
it's not a hole, it's just that's the length of the culvert.
Yeah, I know, but maybe there ought to be a guardrail or something there, that's sometimes.
It's just like climbing up. Money is the big thing in the stuff.
Yeah, and what happened to the guardrail replacement? It's on 35, they
That
never showed
to
up.
be, well, yeah. Like all the companies, they all say they want to work, but they don't seem to want to show up. So the message I got was in the beginning of October, around the 4th. But
Won't hold your breath.
exactly.
All right, so
So-
what does the board want to do about just the one culvert on Red Orchard? And I think Danny's looking for some direction from us.
So Danny, I just want to make sure I understood what you said, which is if you could not get the permit extension, you would like to do the culvert this year.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll try to get all those off.
And when would you know whether you're going to get the culvert, the extension of the,
He should be able to tell me right over the phone if it's good enough for next year.
and so by definition, if you can get it extended, you'd be okay waiting?
Yeah.
Or should we find out that piece of information before we decide, since that's Danny's recommendation?
Or you could make a motion, Suzanne, that we don't do the culvert this year unless they can't extend the permit. If that's what they want to do, I mean, that would cover that issue.
You guys I can have Bill send an email around and figure that out.
Either way.
I'll try getting a hold of Scott tomorrow.
Just wait until we, no?
What do you think?
It needs to be replaced, but we've got so much work to do that you're just adding more work to it. I'd like to see this flood work finished and done with. And the other stuff, the normal maintenance like that is still, grading to do And there's other stuff that, I'd like to see that done first before we add more work to the highway crew.
Danny, you might have answered this. What would happen if we did put this off till spring? Could there be an impact up there or?
If it folds up against the bottom again, it closes the culvert off, we'll wash the road out right there, which would kind of miss the ag, so it should go straight across.
Well, we need to do something. We can't leave it in limbo. We either say yes or no or whatever, so. What would everybody like to do?
Well, I hate to have that road wash out if it gets into a heavy rain. I like to see it repaired. But if we can get the extension, just do it.
Well, the question is, do you want to do it this year or do you want to do it next year if you get the extension? That's the real question. It has to be prepared, whether you do it this year or you do it next year. Bill?
And what are you gonna use to pay for it?
Have we depleted our culvert funds if we weren't counting?
Yes.
Right, so even without FEMA's money, we still are overspent on culverts.
Ooh, wow. That's a good data point. Thank you.
But the real issue though is if they don't extend the permit, will they issue a permit for next year to do the same culvert, or are they gonna require a different culvert? That's, then the $8,000, the $7,000 plus labor might end up to be $50,000 or $60,000. I don't know if they want to cement box of culvert in there or something. I don't know.
That's what I gotta do.
That is the issue that you have to deal with.
Kim, from your perspective, would there be, I mean, could we borrow from Peter to pay Paul in any way? Or are you saying that because that line item is depleted, that it would be improved to approve another culvert?
Well, if we get the FEMA funds, we'll be all set. If we don't, we will just dip into the bond that we have of 800,000
Mm-hmm.
and then start paying on that. So we do have a loan out there that we can dig into.
I just wonder from a process standpoint, since we're only 24 hours or so away from knowing whether that application can be extended or not, how prudent would it be for us to just wait, get that information and
Just
decide?
wait, I'll give that, he'll know what Scott says, he can send you an email, then you can decide then.
But why not just condition your motion on
Yeah,
getting the extension or not getting it?
yeah, I would rather
That's the same.
I would rather do a motion than have it go over the internet. That kind of, it kind of runs, you really need to call a special meeting to do it rather than,
Understood.
but if you do a meeting subject to,
Yeah.
a motion subject to, then if it's not extended, then you do it. If it is extended, then you do it next year.
Okay, I'm happy to make that motion.
I'll second it.
Do we have any more discussion on that?
Okay, I got to say, you've got $400,000 worth of money to spend on stuff. If we can get this work done and get a figure on it, it's going to be much easier to collect the money than if the work is not done and they have to go out and inspect it. That's the only thing I'm getting at. It's tough for repair. And I
The
would
flood
think,
work would be done before this culvert is done, you're talking 8 weeks out before we do that. The highway crews, we did grading all this week. Most of the flood stuff we're having the contractors do. The only thing we have to be involved in is leveling gravel. The ditch stuff is P&L and Jamie Gary. And like I say, that by the end of this week, most of that will be done. It's just a matter of knowing that if we wait 6 weeks and then decide to do it, there's no way you can do it over time.
Okay. Can you give an estimate when all the flood work that we're doing right now, I'm not talking about the stuff we're waiting for FEMA to come, like all the big culverts and stuff, but you can give a date in weeks when all that culvert work will be done?
Depending on the paving and Townsend, I would say 3 weeks. Everything would be done.
I doubt FEMA will be here in 3 weeks. If they showed up over there, they showed up saying, we're around there. They're not doing it, I'm guessing. Because they got to set up. And they haven't even, they just got the request, last week. They haven't even answered the question yet, so they're not gonna be in town for 3 weeks. We should have all that work done.
So if you can get all the work done in 3 weeks, then that would be good.
Yeah.
121 down there, Wednesday, we're planning on putting a culvert across for that project. Basins, with the date they gave me when I talked to them a week and a half ago, they should be here any day to finish up, milling, and then they should be starting paving. Like I said, whether they show up when they say is out of my control.
But you have some work to do down in town, has work to do, don't they?
We have one culvert that we're gonna do Wednesday, and the only reason it's happening that late is because we have no flaggers, we have one flagger again.
Yeah, well, Walter's not here anymore.
So, yeah, so one of the highways got a flag to do it, that leaves 2 people to do 60 feet of culverts on one day.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to do, and grade it for them to pave. The rest of the work can be done after they pave. Most of it has to be done after they pave.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to replace the culvert, this year if we can't get an extension. If not, if we get the extension, we replace it next year. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are we unanimous or are you abstaining, John?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, so it's 4 to 1 abstention. Okay, we have the paving bid, for Townsend Road down there, Jan and Ultra house. You have the bids there. As I understand it from Bill, we only have one bid.
That one bid.
And it's
It was
from
received on September 15th.
the old Springfield paving company, which now is, I think, Sunapee, is that correct?
Sunapee, yep. Sunapee Paving LLC. Paving will be completed this year. The total bid is $19,560. Can you repeat that, Bill?
Kenny, is that more than you thought it was gonna be?
Walk less.
Huh? Not bad.
$11,000. But whatever, at a price, does it say per ton?
No, I have 19,000.
$19,560.
You can do it by the ton. It's a lot less than what I was quoted by other companies by almost $11,000.
Yeah, we thought it was gonna be 30,000. That's the 19.5.
Yeah.
Now, you have to understand, we have to, somebody's gonna remove all the pavement
Right.
and all the way, that'll cost us 2,000.
What's that?
For him to all the way, cutting all the way to painting is 2,000.
Roughly, yeah.
Roughly 2,000, and then we have to grade it, prepare it, all they're gonna do, that is just paving.
Right.
Yes.
So to get that ready for paving, it's gonna cost $2,000 more.
But what we're gonna pay, so the P&L will take the asphalt that's there. You know, we gotta cut the road at the 2 ends for them. See, they will dig it out, he pays for all the trucking for getting the old asphalt. But we gotta pay him for the excavator time, I think it was $2,000, he figured roughly for excavator time to dig it up.
Chapter 21.5.
To have it, Mag, like we did on 121, I had a quote of $5,000 to do that, and that's why I went this other way. It's $3,000 cheaper.
Well, we had to pay. I mean,
That money there, we're getting such a small portion back from, so, from the flood,
We should get money for FEMA for having to repair that area.
a portion. The difference will come out of our retreatment,
right, then we do have the money.
yes.
It's a leftover from the
Yeah.
retreat fund.
I think it was 60 or 70,000 in and after the project roughly.
Right.
We're still doing the bid part, so we'll
One
be
day,
sending it.
one and a half, one day, is that sufficient?
Kathy, I can hear you.
The base amount, 2.5 and 1.5, is that efficient for the?
Yes, that is what our standards are. That we do 2.5 inch of base and 1.5 inch top.
Do I want to make a motion to accept the bid from Sunapee Paving Company on Townsend Road?
Second.
Is that sufficient? Language bid to bill for the acceptance of the bid? Do we have any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Just so that you know, the federal grant, you need to, put it out there, in a certain way. I put this bid out to probably 10 paving companies and I have at least 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 refusals. And refusals are as good as bids as far as FEMA is concerned. They just want to make sure that you got it out there so people have a chance to get it.
Okay. Is there anything else for Danny or highway? If not, thank you, Danny. Kim?
First of all, I guess on the agenda is we're approaching the budget season. So I had asked earlier if you'd like to take a look and, decide when we'd like to have our first budget meeting.
Did everybody bring their calendars?
Yes.
And Bill and I were talking, and, we're hoping between us, Bill's gonna be gone for some of October, I'm probably gonna be gone for some of October. So we were kind of looking at the 25th, the week of the 25th, somewhere in that week, if that would work.
The 25th of October?
Yeah.
For me, I'm not sure, I don't have the dates. I think I'm gone 22, 23, 24, and 25 I postponed my main vacation, and that's where it's supposed to go, so I have to double check to see. Later in the week would be okay for me. But we did last year, we took a day of the week, we did it every Thursday. Makes it easier. So if we could find the date that everybody's happy with, then we know. And we had 3 meetings, I think, last year. We had 2 long meetings, 2 hours each, and then I think the third one was shorter, and we revised some of the budget. So probably it'd be the same as this year, I would think. So.
I'm not available on the 28th that week, otherwise.
How about the 26th on a Tuesday?
I'm not sure if I'm home. Yeah, I don't know if I come home Monday or Tuesday. I don't have it in my calendar. I don't think, let me see something.
Wednesday the 27th?
That's okay.
How would that be for you, Kim?
I would just make sure I'm here.
Yeah, but you
Are you
know
looking
what?
during the day or in the evening? I can do the evening.
I was thinking during the day, but can we start it first week in November? Would that be enough time? It's only 1 week later.
Yeah, as long as we get the 3 in as,
Oh, you
we're
mean,
looking at each week having one?
yeah, if you do one, let's say we do it on the 4th, just for discussion purposes. So if we did it on the 4th of November, the 11th of November, I think you'll get most of your budget done. And then you can have another one sometime after Thanksgiving for the final. depending on the fire department and everybody else who has to come in.
All right, so,
And can we make it available on Zoom? I work, so.
Yeah, everything will be on Zoom.
He's gonna be doing it later.
so the first one, you'd like it to be 11/4.
I don't know, I just picked that as a date, I don't know.
That's fine with me.
It's Veterans Day, that's Veterans Day, does that make a difference to anybody?
11/4?
11/4 sounds good.
Oh, 11.
Now, if you were to start with
11/4,
is that going to be the time that you're going to ask any of the organizations to come forward with their requests?
Yes.
Because it'd be nice to have them all here at the same time.
Well, we should have the request prior to our meeting, so that we have it ahead of time to take a look at it. And then they should come here on, if the 4th is the date, and they should be prepared to explain their budget on the 4th to us. But don't come in with the budget on the 4th and say, here it is.
Right.
So Bill should send out a notice to all concerned and give us a week ahead of time. And that gives them plenty of time to do it.
Okay. So, and then going back to that, then, also, reviews or pay increases need to be done by then. So
Right. The personnel committee has to do
personnel
that.
can have them done and completed. That would be helpful. I will get together, the paperwork and put it in your boxes, so I give you the worksheets with the blanks. We'll do that. I'll have those in your boxes within the next week.
Artie, you have a question?
Yeah, I need to know, if I'm the capital budget chairman, I need to know who's on the committee. Last year, we only had like 4 people, so Aaron, Cynthia, myself, John, and I think that was it.
Wasn't Danny, isn't he an ex officio on that committee? Or was that, no?
We should have, I think we should have somebody from, the road crew on it. Somebody who lives in town,
I mean, weren't you on it before?
It was years ago,
That's what I mean.
and I mean, every year I give whatever information it needs, but as far as actually being on it, I don't think I am. We
Well, you
met-
weren't a member, but you were an ex officio thing.
Yeah.
At least that's what I thought.
And I know, last year, Joan White was on it, but she didn't come to the meeting, so I don't know whether she still wants to do it.
She's not interested.
That's what I thought. And Jason, Archibald was on the committee, but he didn't show last year.
I'm not sure.
And Joe Valenti is gone.
Oh, he's gone.
So, I mean, there's people that are missing. We wanna have more people.
Yeah, Linda Roberts.
Linda was on it last year, and she was at the meeting. So I'm sure Cynthia will do
Yeah, I'll
it, Tim will do it.
So do we need more citizens to be on it,
Well, it's a question of, we should have people who are interested
in budgets and that kind of thing?
in.
Could we have some time, Hardy, to think over possible
Yes, I'm
candidates
just
for this?
throwing it out there, so
Okay.
that somebody can get back to me with who's on the committee, so I can arrange their meetings.
And then when do you want the recommendations from the selectmen?
Well, 11/4 might be a little early, I'm not sure whether I want to,
Okay.
I gotta know what date you want us to present something to you, so I can set it up in advance.
Well, yeah, but I think under the guidelines, we're supposed to present a request, right? Isn't that how it works?
We submit a request to you, and you either approve it or disapprove it.
Right.
And then it goes to the open,
the hearing.
the open hearing. So there's a 3-part thing. Presentation.
So are we doing the 4th and the 11th? Or the 4th, and we don't have a set for the second date yet? Or are we doing another date?
We didn't set a second date.
Well, we should have actually 3 dates. 2 in November and then one later on, 1st of December. Because you still have plenty of time, in case.
Don't have a whole lot of time. I have to put together, I mean, that's like a long report to put together, to plug in the numbers for the town's report. Usually.
Well, then you could do it, you could do it 3 days in a row. 3 weeks in a row, I'm saying. I mean, can everybody do it the 4th, the 11th, and the 18th, 11th being Veterans Day, is that a problem for anybody here?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you can't do it then. You can do it on, you can't do it on Wednesday, you can do it on a Friday. The 12th,
Or Tuesday.
or Tuesday. We just gotta get the dates down, that's all. So is the 4 is the first date? Is that okay with everybody?
Yes,
Okay.
we're talking November 4th. am I
Right, yeah. And then we need something the week of the 8th, so the 11th is Veterans Day,
Ninth, Tuesday?
fine with me.
9th is good.
It's good.
November 9th.
And then we need one more date, and then we want to, the 25th is Thanksgiving, I think.
The 16th?
Well, don't you think we need a week ahead of time, Kim, that you want to do? We did that last year, we had a meeting a couple of weeks later, because there was some concern from some of the board members, and, but that's up to you.
Why don't we just play it by ear on the 9th, and then we can plan it at that
Okay,
point.
all right, that's fine,
Let's just work hard to try to get it done for the 9th.
all right.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about November,
Yeah.
I got picked for jury duty back in November. There's might be a few days off.
As long as we have your budget in front of us, we don't care.
Perfect.
Well, you could get excused, Kenny. Kenny? Huh?
No,
No?
Well, like,
Huh?
deathbed.
You can't get excused anymore?
boy, you read the paperwork, it's pretty clear that you better be really sick. or the whole paper that comes about COVID and everything.
Okay.
'Cause that's, I kind of was thinking.
What you said.
With regard to Hardy's thing, you have to appoint the captain.
Yes, we need names.
And so I figured you'd do that October 4th, which is our next meeting,
That's fine.
okay? We can get it together for October 4th, okay?
And Bill, could we just get to you some ideas for who might be willing and good to serve?
That's the whole idea why you have till October 4th. yeah.
Okay,
It'd be great to get people who have some knowledge, of the, the roads and the situation. It makes it a lot better. If you can find volunteers. How many meetings is that, 1 or 2?
Well, usually there's one major meeting
Right,
with everybody on the committee,
right,
and then we develop our recommendations, which we then present to you.
okay, so basically, really, the person just has to have one basic meeting,
Yeah.
so, okay. All right, the abatement, that's your thing.
I just want it for the record, just so that, I'm following protocol. I did receive, a request for, possible abatement. The abatement on George and Janice Ruby. I received it on 9/40/21. And going through the preparation and, preparing for this abatement, possible abatement, which falls under the, homestead declaration penalty. It doesn't quite qualify in some of the timelines, and so on September the 16th, after speaking with, Janet, they have then sent a withdrawal for the abatement, so they don't want to go through the process. So I have that in writing, the withdrawal, I have in writing the request. So just for the record, I want to let you know that it's been taken care of, it's resolved.
There's nothing you want us to do. Okay.
There's nothing you have to do, no, I just wanted in the minutes that, I did my obligation and I
Okay.
presented it.
Do you have anything else, Kim?
No, I have to be short. No, I'm all set.
Okay. All right, Dave, any have anything else, Kim, before we move on? Okay, cemetery committee, John, you wanna
No,
talk about? John and I and Bill, walked the property in near Hopeville Cemetery. And Bill's kind of mapped out an area. And, we are scheduled to meet with the owner of the property sometime at the end of this month.
At the end of this month, that weekend after the end.
Yeah, and, see what he has in mind and, whether it's gonna be for sale or gonna donate it or whatever. So we're continuing that process. Also, John and I and Bill, because of Walter's medical condition, we looked at the cemeteries and they're all mowed, they're all in good shape right now. But there's gonna have to be some maintenance done in the next couple of weeks or months, clearing leaves and maybe another mowing. So the question is, what do we want to do about it? Yes.
I talked with Austin, who was here, and we talked, and he's gonna keep his eye on it, and he can get the mower, the power push mower off the right around, and if he needed to get the bigger mower around, I told him just contact us and we'll find some way to move it.
Okay.
To where, I think probably the only place he used it right along is in Oakland, right? Does it? Isn't that one that Alfred uses, isn't that ours, is that we just have a push? Okay.
I don't think we have under the right.
So I think it's.
But anyway, Austin said that he would keep an eye on it and would, let us know if he needed anything, he would,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Yes, Jim.
The other suggestion too I had, if Walter's not coming in and if it's too much for Austin is, we do have Ivor Stevens that does the rest of the town grounds that possibly he could do leaf removal or something like that. I mean, maybe a little extra on there, but then we'll just take it from the cemetery until we can figure things out.
Okay. Well, John and I will keep an eye on it and to see what's going on. Okay. Highway committee, you have anything other than we just talked about everything here? The parks, there's the only thing, go ahead, Suzanne, you want to come with the sign?
Oh, I don't know if people have been to the village park, but the sign is up and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, it is. And the park looks great. They've been working hard. If you walk through there, they've been doing clearing and it's looking really good up there.
I do believe, let Bill know something different. We heard there's no response to the application for the grant that we know yet.
No, we don't expect that for a while.
All right, personnel, you guys have got something, so.
Yeah, we met with, Kim and Bill. We had 2 meetings with Bill. We met with the highway and got some response back. They still would like to have more response, because we handed out the draft. And we proposed 3 days in October 6th, 7th, and 8th for follow-up meetings. I haven't heard anything. Have you heard anything? It's to converse again and come up with a final draft, which would be October 18th. One of the suggestions that we had is to add Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day. And I believe in order for them to have that holiday this year, the board would have to make a motion to adopt that. Because if we pass everything or still have a continued discussion on the 18th, they would miss out on that day.
Would the committee have to make that motion?
Yes.
Just go ahead.
So I'd like to make a motion to add Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day, which is October, I believe October 11th.
I'm saying that again, which is
October
It's the
11th,
second Monday.
October, second Monday in October.
added as a holiday for our personnel.
Second,
How many holidays do we have prior to this adding this, you know?
with this one would be 12.
Oh. Do we have any discussion? Is everybody in favor of this? Do you want to call the question?
Sure.
Okay, all in favor of adding the Columbus/Indigenous People Day holiday to the holiday schedule? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so I guess we have a new holiday. All right. Okay, building committee. Who's got the architecture? According to what Bill has told me, I don't know, they sent out bids to how many architects firms?
To about, 12, 13.
So this is the only bid.
This is the only person that showed up at my visit, and the only bid to there, I got refusal. Yeah, so they didn't, it's the only bid.
When you get a refusal, do they explain the refusal, or just say,
No, I tell them, I need to know why they refused, and it generally is that they don't have time to do it, or it isn't what they, exactly what they do, but.
Do we have 5 here?
Yeah, we'll do that planning.
Well, that's why I said that.
All we New York.
Looking for the bid number, if somebody needs me to it, feel free to speak up.
I would say it's under tab number 5. But before, I wouldn't want you to approve this tonight, I'd like to have, Jeff, Martell go over with me, he's the one that helped me prepare it, and, he's the architect from here.
No, I don't think we should approve it. I think we need to study it first.
Well, I'd like to have him look
Yeah,
at
I'd like to get, anybody who want to run it through Badger, if you're willing to do that.
Well,
I don't know.
Jeff would know, he helped me with the format, so I just.
It's 26,650, huh? That's not bad.
That's for the
that's
architecture.
the architects, is that what's in it?
And for the construction administration.
Yeah, that's from conception to end. In other words, he supervises it, he designs it and all that kind of stuff. And then you gotta have, obviously a contractor bid on it. And I'm assuming he'll help us with the bids, right? I think.
He has an.
Our
Yeah.
proposal included that.
Bid assistance.
Once he takes it on, he takes on the whole thing, including, he handles all the bidding.
Yeah.
And he does the construction, he
Yeah.
supervises construction, it's all laid out there.
Pardon?
How is this going to be paid for?
Through the, money.
He also doesn't.
It doesn't come out of capital budget or town.
That's all I want.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's the
Depending on the price.
yeah, depending on the price, obviously. I mean, if the thing goes for $300,000, then it's not gonna be covered, but
Correct.
with all the presentation, I think it's gonna be covered under the funds.
To what extent is it possible for the building committee to actually meet, even if it's virtually, with this architect who's bidding? Has that happened already, or with the building committee?
Yeah.
I think it would be great if our building committee had a chance to,
Well, that would,
meet and discuss the project with this architect who's bidding.
but no, that would be under existing conditions, that would be part of those meetings, that's what those meetings are for.
I'm thinking, Bill, I wasn't clear, I'm thinking about in terms of, before we approve, before the select board approves before the select board approves the only bid we've got. Would it be possible for the building committee to meet with the architect? Maybe you're not even interested in doing so, but
Who's on the building?
that's what I was thinking.
Kathy and I,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we
Well,
can do that.
if you guys want to, then you can make a phone call and discuss it
Yeah.
with them. And then, obviously, Bill's gonna have a check with Jeff. And I would say that on the next meeting, if everybody's happy, we would either approve or disapprove.
Yeah, I could, arrange a meeting with him on, virtual meeting with him.
Yeah.
So he's from
That'd be
out,
great.
so he wouldn't have to come back over.
Great.
We all done with this? The wastewater committee, we're scheduling a meeting, sometime, I think it's October 6th with the parties, so that process is it's beginning to happen, and to kind of review where we are and with the grant and contracts and that kind of thing, so, that's ongoing. October 6th.
And when you say the party, Joe, are you referring to Aaron and Diane?
We want to meet with everybody.
Oh, okay, so the volunteers too.
Yeah, right, we're trying to get that set up.
Okay, perfect.
I think, as of this morning, we haven't heard from one individual yet, but, hopefully that'll happen. Any public comment? You sure? Okay.
You're doing a good job.
All right, thank you. The next regular meeting is October 4th, at 6 PM, right here. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a bad right.
It's architectural.
It's a lot more than a kitchen.
No. All right. I think we'll be done.
More than you thought?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You thought you could rest.
Yeah, but it's kind of what, obviously, I can't, just say.
I gotta figure out where we are, right? I'm sure they. Thank you.